truly warped way of looking at the world and how Americans view the sacrifices made by these brave American service members. It's also, frankly, historically illiterate. The news media has always covered service members killed in action prominently because they paid the ultimate price for our nation, regardless of what anyone thinks about the policy decisions or the president. And that's true whether it was the 4 Americans killed in Benghazi during the Obama administration, or the 13 service members killed during the Afghanistan withdrawal during the Biden administration, or the many other American troops who have fallen. It is a tribute to those Americans. It's something that we continue to do, and we have always done under Democratic presidents and Republican presidents. In fact, I've never heard any veteran until Hegseth today say that the news media covers fallen service members too much and too prominently. It's a wild thing to say. CNN's Caitlin Collins asked White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt later today whether Secretary Hegseth's comments represented the position of this administration.
That's not what the Secretary said, Caitlin, and that's not what the Secretary meant, and you know it. You know you are being disingenuous. There is not, we've never had a Secretary of Defense who cares more.
Drones get through or tragic things happen, it's front page news. I get it, the press only wants to make the president look bad. Yeah, as you know, we cover the deaths of U.S. service members under every president.
The press does only want to make the president look bad. That's a fact.
Actually, that's not a fact. It's an opinion. And it's not particularly relevant to the question of whether we only honor fallen veterans because we want to make Trump look bad. And by the way, Hegseth was crystal clear on what he was saying. Just in point of fact, and anybody can Google it, we have covered fallen veterans under Bush and Obama and Trump and Biden and now Trump again. And we will continue to honor troops by memorializing them and discussing their sacrifices. The only difference is that Bush and Obama and Biden didn't have secretaries of defense who would petulantly complain about our coverage of fallen warriors. I want to bring in CNN's Caitlin Collins from the White House. Caitlin?
Yeah, Jake, obviously that moment in the press conference today is just part of the many questions that this White House has been facing about what's next in Iran, what the United States wants to see next when it comes to leadership there, and obviously what the plan is for current service members that are in the forces in terms of what that's going to look like with the campaign. As they say, it's only accelerating, whether or not there'll be boots on the ground. But this premise of the question, given what the Secretary said this morning, which was pretty blunt, Jake, and also, I should note, seemed to be coming from his prepared remarks. It wasn't a comment that Hegseth seemed to make off the cuff to the reporters who were gathered there at the Pentagon this morning, often one of the best press corps in town that asked the most questions about what exactly is happening here. And so I wanted to follow up with the White House on that, given, obviously, when the president goes and attends the dignified transfer of those 6 fallen service members, CNN and other media outlets will carry it, as we always do. It's an incredibly somber and solemn ceremony, typically where their families are present there in these moments. And so I asked the press secretary if that was a viewpoint that the White House agreed with in terms of what the coverage of these deaths should look like. Here's more of what Caroline Leavitt said to me.
I just told you that the President of the United States will be attending their dignified transfer. So please,
that's not making the president look bad. That's showcasing that.
And we expect you to cover that as you should. We expect you to cover that as you should, Caitlin. But you and your network know that you take every single thing this administration says and tries to use it to make the president look bad. That is an objectable fact.
I don't think covering troop deaths is trying to make.
If you're trying to argue right now that CNN's overwhelming coverage is not negative of President Donald Trump, I think the American people would tend to agree.
Jake, I think it obviously goes without saying, as you just noted there, that covering the deaths of these service members has nothing to do with President Trump himself personally, just as it didn't with other presidents. I mean, they are the commander-in-chief. There are real questions about what's happening in Iran and what the United States is planning to do. But anytime a service member dies, we cover it, and we did so when it was President Biden at the Abbey Gate. I was standing here on the North Lawn when that happened, and I remember that. And also in President Trump's first term. And so it's just a fact of covering the Pentagon, covering Washington, and obviously covering the ultimate sacrifice that these U.S. service members have made here.
It really is the height of solipsism and narcissism to think that our coverage of fallen warriors has anything to do with how we cover a president. I'm just utterly shocked that Hegseth and now Caroline Levitt are saying it. I don't even really know what to say. It's so offensive, and I don't care what they think about us. It's so offensive to the families who deserve coverage. There's one thing that you can say about the news media, or just this country: we don't pay enough attention as a nation to fallen veterans. There should be more coverage. Whoever's in the building behind you. Caitlin Collins at the White House, thank you so much. Don't miss Caitlin on her show, The Source with Caitlin Collins. Her guests tonight include former Vice President Mike Pence. That's tonight at 9 Eastern, only on CNN. We're going to have much more on our breaking news out of the Middle East ahead. We're also following breaking news on Capitol Hill tonight. A bipartisan group of House lawmakers have just voted, shockingly, to subpoena the U.S. Attorney General, Pam Bondi. This is part of their Epstein investigation. That's next.
Silicon Valley CEOs love telling us that AI will create jobs. Meanwhile, companies are laying people off left and right. Slowly, AI is taking over coding. In 24 months, entire industries could be gone. So we are holding them accountable. JobLoss.ai tracks job losses caused by AI. Know what's coming before it's too late. Go to JobLoss.ai.
Every weeknight, we cover it all. Will you take this all the way to the Supreme Court?
I'm not refuting a syllable of what you said.
What do you say to people who are looking to find their voice?
Laura Coates Live, weeknights at 11 on CNN and watch on the CNN app.
Disney Plus, Hulu, and HBO Max. It's the best of everything together.
I hope you can walk because I'm not carrying you.
The definitive predator.
I miss all the gross stuff.
It's the ultimate bundle for an unbelievable price.
Thousands of products claim to be innovative. Most aren't.
They're either gimmicky, overpriced, or lacking in true innovation.
We searched for products that actually make a difference,
improving how you live,
work,
eat, or sleep
in ways existing products haven't solved.
Here are 3 that earned one of CNN Underscore's Innovation Awards.
For the awards, our editors tested products across home, tech, beauty, travel, outdoors, and wellness, all looking for one thing.
Does this solve a real problem better than what came before?
No hype, no buzzwords.
Just real-world testing that makes everyday life better, easier, and more convenient.
The Cumulus machine is the first machine exclusively made to brew cold brew, nitro cold brew, and cold espresso with a touch of a button in under 60 seconds. So we've tried a lot of coffee machines. This is unlike any other that we've seen, which is why we chose it as our kitchen innovation of the year. If you exclusively drink...
Howdy, everybody. Look who we got on campus.
We should hang out more, Matthew.
Hey,
come on, man.
We're doing it.
I've never seen anything I've done twice.
You seen Interstellar once? No way, man.
A CNN and Variety Town Hall event, now streaming on the CNN app.
Caitlin Collins is your DC source, bringing you unprecedented access to the White House, Capitol Hill, and beyond. For in-depth political coverage and analysis, watch The Source, weeknights at 9 on CNN and watch on the CNN app.
30 seconds.
Wake up.
Breaking overnight.
Catch up.
New details and more questions.
Start your mornings here.
This is a pivotal week.
CNN News Central. Weekdays at 7 a.m. on CNN and watch at 8 on the CNN app.
When you buy a house, you're buying the neighbors.
It looks like an Osama bin Laden compound in Pakistan.
There is 6 to 8 chicken, 10 to 15 chicken, 20 chicken.
Oh, can't poop on me.
Don't talk to my child that way.
You will not talk over me.
Back off. Arrest her.
My attorney will bury you.
CNN This Morning with Audie Cornish. Weekdays at 6 a.m. on CNN.
Some surprising news on Capitol Hill. The Republican-led House Oversight Committee this afternoon voted to subpoena the Republican Attorney General, Pam Bondi, to get her testimony in their Jeffrey Epstein investigation. CNN's Paula Reed is here with details. And Paula, this was actually a bipartisan vote on a committee that usually only votes in partisan ways.
Yeah, divided by politics, but united in their frustration with Pam Bondi's handling of the Epstein files. I mean, this is something that has become a political liability, not just for Bondi, but also for the president and the Republican Party, which is why we actually saw Republican Nancy Mace really pushing for this subpoena. And on X today, she said, quote, Attorney General Bondi claims the DOJ has released all of the Epstein files. The record is clear. They have not. 3 million documents have been released, and we still don't have the full truth. So it'll be interesting to see how she responds to this.
Very interesting. And we should note that the last hearing, she's being subpoenaed to come on Capitol Hill. I don't know if it's for an open hearing or private testimony, but the last hearing didn't go so well for Bondi. She lashed out at a Democrat, calling him a loser lawyer. This was in the Senate. Do you think that she's going to approach this testimony the same way?
It'll be really interesting to see, because that became part of the monoculture, right? There are all these memes, people being asked questions. What is your coffee order? And then pointing to the Dow, because that's how she handled questions about the Epstein files. So I think if she has to do this again, she's going to have to do this in a much more serious way. So she's likely consulting with her lawyers inside DOJ and trying to figure out, do I have to do this? If I do, can we narrow it down? And then what approach are we going to take? Because the last hearing that she had, it turned into a circus.
And we should note that she started off by saying that they were going to release the Epstein files. They gave notebooks full of information that had already been released to these, random right-wing memers. And then she said on Fox, I have the Epstein files on my desk. Obviously, there are 6 million of them. She didn't have them on her desk. Then they were stonewalling for months. I mean, I can't think of anything that any release of documents that has been handled worse by this administration.
Yeah, no, she definitely has that superlative. And there is this history of making statements, saying one thing, and then doing another, or making a promise and then not following through. She says, we've released all the documents. Well, clearly that's not true. There are still millions that are being withheld. And I also see inside DOJ there is frustration. The way this law was written, the amount of time that they had to release these files, that they just said there was no way they were going to be able to do this properly. So they don't feel like they were really given the opportunity to do this the way they would have liked to. But clearly the way they've handled it, even given that law, even given the larger circumstances, has drawn bipartisan criticism, which is why she is being called before the House to answer questions. And like you said, I mean, this is bipartisan. This has become a liability not just for her, but for the president, for the party. A lot of the reason we have this release is because of the groundswell, right? This matters to a lot of Americans and a lot of folks who support the president. That's why her hand was forced here. So if this happens, it'll be really fascinating to see if she repeats that now infamous appearance a few weeks ago, that approach, because that's really how she is in person, sort of so flippant, so aggressive, or if she takes a different tact.
Yeah, no, that's not what she's like in private at all.
Yeah.
Paula Reed, thanks so much. Another issue front and center on Capitol Hill today, Minnesota's welfare fraud scandal. Billions of dollars stolen. Here are the heated exchanges between Republicans and Minnesota Governor Tim Walz. That's next.
Disney Plus, Hulu, and HBO Max. It's the best of everything together.
I hope you can walk because I'm not carrying you.
You're hunting something that can't be killed.
I could use a second set of hands here.
I miss all the gross stuff.
It's the ultimate bundle for an unbelievable price.
Newsnight with Abby Phillip, weeknights at 10 on CNN and watch on the CNN app.
Introducing All There Is Live, where I talk to others about grief and loss, and you can join the conversation too.
Now streaming at cnn.com/allthereis.
You introduce your buddy to DTF St. Louis. He goes on the site and winds up dead.
I want to know more.
What's going on out here in the suburbs?
Did the re-election of Donald Trump play any role in your decision to resign? It sounds like you have the facts on your fingertips.
There really is much more that unites us than that which divides us.
Watch The Lead, weekdays at 5 on CNN and watch on the CNN app.
If anybody knows about going to great lengths to realize a dream, it's the 5 Japanese-born players in front of their nation's fans for the first time.
Homecoming, the Tokyo series, premieres March 27th on the CNN app.
The Arena with Casey Hunt, weekdays at 4 on CNN and watch on the CNN app.
Taylor's engagement was just Princess Di level news.
$2.2 billion in spend is projected based on Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce's wedding planning.
A Taylor Swift wedding is a pinnacle moment of celebrity culture.
It says a lot about our country that we have dragged Taylor Swift into a culture war about marriage.
People are invested in what they think that her life is.
I do. The Taylor and Travis era, now streaming on the CNN app.
This is the work of a cold, calculating assassin.
In a competition like this, every chef is swinging for the fences.
This is the best lineup of bakers I have ever seen.
Series premiere, The Ultimate Baking Championship, Monday at 9 on Food Network.
Dad, I don't need you to check on me.
I still love you.
I just want to help.
Hey, Rooster! Oh, hey there!
The kids call you Rooster?
They think I'm like my character.
You're a best-selling author parents have actually heard of.
Nice washboard. This is college. You can be the Rooster if you want.
Crush it, Rooster! I want to crush it! Yeah!
This is something that no one would have expected even a few months ago.
There's new drama here on Capitol Hill tonight.
If you received that order, would you have carried it out?
Wouldn't you tell your friends back home I'm joining Border Patrol or some surprise?
Here are the 5 things you need to know to start your day.
Should kids be allowed on social media?
You know, I think a lot of women right now ask that question.
Grief isn't talked about much, but that's what my podcast is all about. Join me and my guests for a new season with new conversations about loss, life, and love.
All There Is with Anderson Cooper. Listen at cnn.com/allthereis.
In our Law and Justice lead, Minnesota's shocking multi-billion-dollar welfare fraud scandal was back on Capitol Hill today. In a heated hearing, House Republicans questioned Minnesota Governor Tim Walz, who dropped his re-election bid amid the scandal. And they also questioned State Attorney General Keith Ellison, and asking both men when they became aware of fraud in their state and what they did or did not do to stop it.
Every day is.
If we did not provide food for our children, no one would steal from that program. But there would also be a lot of hungry children.
You do nothing about fraud, even though everyone in America sees
our Medicare error rate is lower than your state.
We are leading the effort to prosecute Medicaid fraud in Minnesota.
I'm not talking about Medicaid fraud. Don't hide behind that.
From 1 million to 343 million. What percentage increase is that?
I'm not here to be your prop. Go ahead and tell me.
Are you governor of Minnesota or not?
The scandal is back in the spotlight months after it intensified into a national political focal point, and federal agents swarmed the Twin Cities in that immigration crackdown. CNN's Whitney Wild has been following this hearing. Whitney?
Jake, the first few witnesses highlighted the names of Renee Good and Alex Preddy as a way to showcase just how much was lost in the state through that several weeks long stepped up immigration enforcement action. Much of the questioning focused on what Governor Tim Walz and Attorney General Keith Ellison knew, when they knew it, and what they did to stop this huge flow of fraudulent money to this very long list of fraudulent schemes. Republicans really drilled doubled down on this idea that Governor Walz and Ellison had the authority and the obligation to do something, and they just didn't do enough. And they went so far as to say, Jake, that they've had whistleblowers come forward to the committee to say that when they tried to raise the alarm, they were retaliated against. Governor Walz and Ellison flatly denied those allegations. They said when they learned about the fraud, they did try to stop it. They never retaliated against anyone and would not. The tone of questioning really varied. I mean, some Republicans were quite spicy. It became quite fiery. Others were really calm and what sounded, like sincere in the questioning. I mean, it sounded like there really was this sincere effort to try to get to the bottom of what was going on. So I want you to listen to a clip here that I think highlights those two different tones.
Governor Walz, when fraud concerns were raised, did your administration stop payments at that time?
Child care assistance program and
the answer is no. And that's what the problem is, and that's what the Democrats are complaining about. Oh my gosh, Trump stopped payments. Well, my God, you lost billions to fraud in Minnesota.
Governor, what did we do wrong here?
As governor, I've taken accountability for this. I'm not going to run again. I need to spend the time fixing this. There's some legal changes we need around Medicaid eligibility issues.
There were committee members who insisted that Governor Walz and Ellison should lose their jobs. We have no indication that either one of them plans to resign, but there has been pretty significant political fallout for Governor Tim Walz. Jake, he had planned to run for a third term as governor. He is now not doing so. Jake?
All right, Whitney Wild, thank you so much. A shocking amount of fraud. Israel launching a fresh round of strikes inside Iran tonight. Next, I'm going to be joined by Netanyahu's opposition leader in Israel, former Prime Minister Yair Lapid, to get Lapid's take on the growing conflict.
Standoff, the FBI, Power and Paranoia premieres Sunday, March 22nd on CNN.
How's your shift going? It's been a lot.
Charge clear. We're going to take care of you.
This is what we do.
It is the stretch run on TNT.
The push for the playoffs, that's when their game really picks up. That's the best time of year.
It gets super intense.
Come on, you can feel it! Do or die, gotta make the playoffs. It's crunch time. Every game's a must win.
Your back's against the wall.
That can come down to one moment, one play.
You gotta embrace this challenge.
It's all about getting in. Once you're in, you never know what's gonna happen. Give yourself every opportunity to compete for the Stanley Cup.
The rush for the playoffs on TNT.
Dad, I don't need you to check on me.
I still love you.
Ow!
I just want to help.
Hey, Rooster! Oh, hey there!
The kids call you Rooster?
They think I'm like my character.
You're a best-selling author parents have actually heard of.
Nice washboard.
This is college. You can be the Rooster if you want.
Crush it, Rooster! I want to crush it! Yeah, yeah!
Weeknights on CNN.
Tonight on 360.
The stories that matter.
This whole area is just engulfed in flames.
From a trusted voice, Anderson Cooper 360. Weeknights at 8 on CNN.
Explore CNN podcasts for your daily dose of news, culture, and smart storytelling. Whether you want to be swept off your feet.
I just hollered and I said, hey, are you single?
Or navigate cutting-edge tech.
Can I ask a nerdy question?
Follow doctor's orders.
Research shows even a 5-minute walk will do you good.
And discover the conversations shaping our world.
Where do you want to start?
Follow and listen to CNN podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts.
The Situation Room, weekday mornings at 10 on CNN and watch on the CNN app.
Disney Plus, Hulu, and HBO Max. It's the best of everything together.
I hope you can walk because I'm not carrying you.
You're hunting something that can't be killed.
I could use a second set of hands here.
I miss all the gross stuff.
It's the ultimate bundle for an unbelievable price.
Introducing All There Is Live, where I talk to others about grief and loss, and you can join the conversation too.
Now streaming at cnn.com/allthereis.
Grief isn't talked about much, but that's what my podcast is all about. Join me and my guests for a new season with new conversations about loss, life, and love.
All There Is with Anderson Cooper. Listen at cnn.com/allthereis.
Back to our breaking news. In our world lead, Israel is launching a fresh wave of flyover strikes across Tehran, Iran. The Israeli military confirmed this evening this is the 11th wave of attacks since the war began. The death toll continuing to climb in countries around the region as the devastation from the war ripples throughout the Middle East. Joining me now is Israeli opposition leader and former Prime Minister Yair Lapid. Sir, thank you so much for joining us. We have already seen civilian deaths in Israel as a result of Iran waging retaliatory strikes. What's been your reaction to the tragic loss of Israeli civilians in this war?
Well, the other day I went to the city of Bet Shemesh and I went to the site in which the 3 children of the Beaton family were killed together, next to them a mother and a child. And we need to keep in mind that, you know, there are casualties of war on both sides, but the Iranians are doing this purposely. They are firing rockets and missiles into cities and villages, Israeli cities, Israeli villages, trying to hit and target civilians, because this is the kind of regime it is.
Let's talk about the regime, because the body of clerics in Iran, known as the Assembly of Experts, they're meeting to decide who is going to succeed the Ayatollah Khamenei. It is speculated that they might select his son, Mojtaba Khamenei, which would likely signal a continuation of the regime and its hardline policies. What would that mean for the future of Iran, and what would it mean for Israel?
Well, the question is not what these 88 elderly clergy people will do. The question is what the people of Iran are going to do. Because this regime is not a government the way you and I think about governments. This regime is a terror organization that took hostage an entire country. An ancient country, an ancient culture, intelligent people, educated people. We saw them last January taking to the streets, trying to demand freedom, women's rights, civil rights. It was, I mean, I think the entire globe was filled with admiration to their courage. And the question is, what are they going to do now that the circumstances and the conditions for them to take their life, the destiny into their own hands has improved significantly?
Prime Minister Netanyahu is up for re-election this fall, and he is reaffirming his alliance with President Trump, and he believes that and the strikes against Iran are both positive politically for him. Do you have any concerns that his motivation for this war could be driven by politics in any way?
I don't care. It's good for Israel, and I was an Israeli patriot long before I was a politician. I think usually elections are about the future, not the past. And I think people understand that basically this was the right war, and there was a total unity within the Israeli society about this. Jake, you know me. I think I've earned the title, the most bitter rival of Prime Minister Netanyahu, and yet I supported this operation, this war, because it's the right thing to do, because the Jews had enough of waiting for somebody to kill them without doing anything about this. And I think the Israelis understand this as something that is ex-curriculum to the political arena. In election time, they will vote on the future, and I think we're doing pretty well.
Let me ask you something about domestic politics here in the United States. There are increasingly more and louder voices in both the Democratic Party and the Republican Party who do not like the Israeli government, openly question whether or not the U.S. should even be allied with Israel. Now, some of it is anti-Semitic, and without question, But do you think all of it is? What do you attribute this rising chorus of voices criticizing Israel, not just criticizing decisions made by Netanyahu, but questioning whether or not Israel should even be an ally of the U.S.?
Well, I think, as you said, there's two ways of looking at this. Or you know what? There are two groups. One is not something new and horrible that just emerged in TikTok. It is something very ancient that emerged 1,000 years ago. This is pure anti-Semitism. Now, I'm not one of those people who think that every criticism over Israel or over the Israeli government is anti-Semitism. Actually, part of friendship is the ability to discuss differences. I think right now there is a weird coalition of the far right and the far left using almost the same terms against Israel and against this alliance that is critical for the security of Israel, but also, I think, contributes quite a bit to the security of the United States. We are your Middle Eastern post, and we are fighting alongside you, protecting values that the United States was the first to bring to the international table: freedom, justice for all, and the pursuit of happiness. I keep telling people, you have to remember, Israel always said two things about itself. We are the only democracy in the Middle East, and we are the strongest country in the Middle East. And the reason we are the strongest country in the Middle East is because we are the only democracy in the Middle East, and we share values. And those people are just trying to find new ways to say the old thing is the fact that they don't like the Jews.
There are critics who look to how the settlers are treating Palestinians in the West Bank, all the loss of life in Gaza during the war against Hamas, and have very, very serious concerns about how the Israeli government is conducting itself.
Well, I have very, very serious concerns about how the Israeli government is conducting itself, and I agree. This is the people that these are hoodlums and hooligans and Jewish terrorists, and I'm ashamed that they are part of Israel, even though they are a very, very small fraction. And of course, I kept saying this throughout the war in Gaza. I think it's a just war still. Nothing will harm Israel's ability to defend itself if they say, you know what, we are really, really sorry when children are dying in grown-ups' wars. This is part of being humane. So, yes, I have criticism over the government. This is why I'm the leader of the opposition. And this is why we're going to run against them and trying to tell the people of Israel there are better options. But right now, in the current events, right now, Israel stands united opposite an existential threat that we must have taken care of and taken care of it together.
Israeli opposition leader and former Prime Minister Yair Lapid, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Jake.
Is President Trump finally about to wade into the very nasty and very expensive Texas Senate race? What he said today about a potential endorsement. That's next.
The relationship between the FBI director and the president has always been complicated.
Sometimes they're in moments of deep collaboration. At other times, the FBI is investigating the president.
You don't want an FBI to try to destroy a president, but you also don't want a president to destroy the FBI.
No one is above the law in the FBI's eyes.
Standoff, the FBI, Power and Paranoia, premieres Sunday, March 22nd on CNN and next day on the CNN app.
All There Is Live, now streaming at cnn.com/allthereis.
Whether it's your future health, your future income, or your future happiness, becoming an AARP member today can help. Join now for just $11 per year with a 5-year term and get a second membership free. Call or go online to join today, because the younger you are, the more you need AARP.
Why do I have to wait for payday? I show up for work every day. I should have access to my money when I want. That's why I bank fee-free at Chime. My paycheck hits up to 2 days early when I direct deposit, and I get fee-free overdraft that has my back. Plus, I can get paid when I say, up to $500. No credit check, no interest, no mandatory fees. Finally, I'm in control of my money. This is so awesome. I got everyone I know to join. Join the millions of members like us, banking fee-free at Chime.
You introduce your buddy to DTF St. Louis. He goes on the site and winds up dead.
I want to know more.
What's going on out here in the suburbs?
In these troubling times, the world desperately needs a hero. Unfortunately, we've got him.
What to do when country go, ah!
Last Week Tonight with John Oliver.
When you buy a house, you're buying the neighbors.
It looks like an Osama bin Laden compound in Pakistan.
There is 6 to 8 chickens, 10 to 15 chicken, 20 chicken.
Oh, cat poop on me.
Don't talk to my child that way. You will not talk over me.
Back off.
Arrest her.
My attorney will bury you.
How's your shift going? It's been a lot.
Charge clear.
We're gonna take care of you.
This is what we do.
Dad, I don't need you to check on me.
I still love you.
Ow!
I just want to help.
Hey, Rooster! Oh, hey there!
The kids call you Rooster?
They think I'm like my character.
You're a best-selling author parents have actually heard of. Nice washboard. This is college. You can be the rooster if you want.
Crush it, Rooster! I want to crush it! Ah! Yeah, yeah!
In our politics lead today, President Trump is teasing a possible make-or-break endorsement as the Republican Senate race in Texas heads into overtime. Senator John Cornyn, the incumbent, and Attorney General Ken Paxton are now going to face a runoff in late May after neither one reached the 50% threshold last night. President Trump never endorsed in the race, quite uncharacteristically. But today he posted on social media, quote, both John and Ken ran great races, but not good enough. Now, this one must be perfect. I will be making my endorsement soon and will be asking the candidate that I don't endorse to immediately drop out of the race, all caps. Is that fair? We must win in November, unquote. But someone who still has no plans to endorse, well, Texas's other senator, Republican Senator Ted Cruz, who served with Cornyn since 2012, but said this today.
John Cornyn is a good friend of mine. Ken Paxton is a good friend of mine. I have endorsed both of them previously. I've campaigned with both of them previously. And as I've said from the beginning of this race, I'm staying out of the race. I trust the voters of Texas.
The Republican winner will face State Representative James Tallarico, who perhaps surprisingly beat Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett in the Democratic Senate primary in Texas. Let's talk about it all with the panel. Brian, let me start with you. This has already been a very nasty race in Texas. And I say that as somebody who's covered many nasty races for decades. I was going to say centuries, but decades. Take a look.
I refuse to allow a flawed, self-centered, and shameless candidate like Ken Paxton risk everything we've worked so hard to build over these many years.
For too long, he stabbed our president in the back by trying to derail his presidential campaigns and supporting the Democrats' lawfare against the president. Those days are coming to an end.
And we should keep in mind, that's what they're willing to say on camera. Imagine what the TV ads are like. Well, we've already run some of them. Do you think either of them is going to actually drop out if Trump endorses the other?
I think it's going to be very hard, whoever Trump does endorse, for them to have any oxygen to go forward. We've seen that when the president steps in, specifically in primaries in red states, it moves the needle a lot. You know, I have a bias. I hope it's Senator Cornyn that gets in because I want to hold on to the Senate seat. But I think it'd be extremely difficult for Ken to mount any type of race that builds momentum.
Corbin Trent, your first time here at the table. Welcome.
Yes, thanks for having me.
Good to have you. Which Republican do you think Tallarico has a better chance of beating?
I want to say Paxton. I think, I think,
agree.
Yeah, absolutely. I think he's plagued with scandals. He's been, he's kind of a wild man. He doesn't have a vision. He's not like promoting any big ideas. He's more or less, I support the president more than anybody, and, I'm going to make liberals' head explode on TV. I just don't think that's going to do great in the general.
Were you surprised that Tallarico beat Jasmine Crockett? I was.
Yeah, I didn't see that. I thought she had a really good shot of winning, and I thought that Texas was looking for that kind of fighter, somebody that's going to go out there and sort of troll the opposition. But looks like they're looking for, I think, a little bit more calm and in the storm, and it's probably good. I think it's going to be. I think Tallarico's got a good shot. If anybody's got a good shot at flipping Texas in the Senate, I think it's him.
Do you think Tallarico could beat Paxton?
Oh, absolutely. I don't think he can beat Cornyn. I think Cornyn walks away with it probably with a double-digit victory. But Tallarico can absolutely beat Ken Paxton, and that is scary to think about.
And we should note, looking at the results last night, Republican voters in Texas seem feisty. They seem very unhappy with the status quo. Not only is Cornyn headed to a runoff, this is the incumbent senator, long-term incumbent senator, didn't get 50%. Incumbent Republican Congressman Dan Crenshaw, a war hero, lost by a double-digit margin, 15 percentage points. Republican Congressman Tony Gonzalez is heading to a runoff with a conservative activist named Brandon Herrera. How do Democrats harvest this Republican dissatisfaction with the status quo in Texas and anywhere else?
I think they realize that it's legitimate, that the dissatisfaction that voters are feeling, that Americans feel generally, is long-lasting. It's been building and building for decades, and I think too many of the folks in the Democratic Party want to return to 2008, 2016. I don't know when they want to go back to, right? But pre-Trump. And I believe they think that if we could just get over Trumpism, then we'd be okay. And I think that the fact is that America's been looking for different directions for quite some time, and they need to internalize that. Pelosi, she famously said when Trump won the first time, is that Americans aren't looking for a new direction. The Democratic Party need not change. And so I think they've got to internalize.
And you disagree with that? It's just
100% disagree with that.
That's like your life's goal.
That's my life's goal, is to disagree with that sentiment.
Yeah.
I believe that America wants to see something different. That's why Trump won the first time. That's why he won the second time. There is a desire to see this country have more to offer its citizens and more to offer the world than just war and decline.
Do you agree with that? That if Democrats harnessed some of that populism that Trump has been able to tap into, that Bernie Sanders and AOC have been able to tap into, it could be good for them?
I think the problem that Democrats have is, yes, there's something to harness, but it's their policies that are the scary thing. Is if we're talking about affordability, there's no Democratic policy that makes life cheaper for them. And actually, socialist policies make things more expensive. So I think there's that energy there, and I think it's driven by economics, and that's why you saw Trump come back the way he did. But I don't think the country wants socialism.
Well, what do you think about that? One of the things that's interesting about Trump, and now we have a war, but if there weren't all these other distractions, Greenland and whatever, there would probably be more focus on it. But he has done he's done some populist things when it comes to pushing pharmaceutical companies to lower the prices of medication. That's just one example. But I still don't know how Republicans are the ones that pass into law no tax on tips.
Or how it is Republicans in Trump that took ownership of some private companies to golden shares.
Right. That's talk about socialism.
Don't even get me started.
Right. So, I think if you look at healthcare, for example, we spend $6 trillion a year on healthcare. We know that that's not sustainable. We talk about a $1 trillion a year war budget or military budget, but $6 trillion on healthcare. And we've got 80% of counties in this country that are in healthcare deserts. So we know that that's fundamentally wrong and it's not working. But when you look at the solutions to it, if you go back to the 70s, we had about 50% of the hospitals and clinics were owned by counties, cities, states, and other forms of government. So, you can say it's socialism, Brian. You can say that
his eyebrows are saying it.
But it's very much.
My pocketbook will say the same thing.
It will not. The healthcare was more affordable in the 70s, 80s, and 90s.
You're right.
It was more.
When the tax rate was 70% on somebody who's creating jobs. You're right. If that's the message you're going to make,
American people could afford life. One working person could support a family. That's the thing that we've lost. Affordability has gotten so out of control that it doesn't even seem like a dream that we can have.
Yeah, but you guys are asking for more taxes. That makes things more expensive.
I don't think there's that many people asking for more taxes.
I just saw the new governor of Virginia ask for more taxes.
Against billionaires.
No, for packages delivered to people's homes, she has to tax that. I mean, your party's asking for more taxes. That makes things inherently more expensive. And none of your policies actually make it cheaper. Look at Obamacare. It's driven up the cost at an astronomical rate. You're blaming Republicans, but the policy has failed that it has to be bailed out every couple of years.
If Romney Care was a bad idea for the ACA was not the way to go. It absolutely, right now.
And it failed.
It failed. And
you think that they should have done Medicare for all?
There's no question. A public option at the minimum. But it's not just about the insurance and who pays the checks. It's about who delivers the care and who owns the delivery of that care.
All right. Great stuff. Thanks, guys. Really appreciate it. As thousands of people remain stranded in the Middle East, Israel is hoping to reopen its main airport for some flights tomorrow. How quickly will other airports follow suit? That's next.
You introduce your buddy to DTF St. Louis. He goes on the site and winds up dead.
I want to know more.
What's going on out here in the suburbs?
The relationship between the FBI director and the president has always been complicated.
Standoff, the FBI, Power and Paranoia, premieres Sunday, March 22nd on CNN.
I'm always shopping The Real.
They drop over 10,000 new arrivals every day from the luxury brands I'm obsessed with.
All up to 90% off retail.
Gucci,
Prada,
Louis Vuitton, Hermes, Dior,
Cartier,
Tiffany.
resale that's been authenticated by true experts.
No one else can say all that. Because no one does resale like The Real.
Thousands of new arrivals up to 90% off retail.
Millions of people, millions of possibilities. Only on The Real.
Visit therealreal.com for $25 off your first order. Terms apply.
Hi, I'm Kai Burkhart, editor at CNN_, and today I'm at Eldora Mountain Resort to show you how I tested for the best ski jackets. There are two main types of ski jackets you can get: insulated and non-insulated. Insulated jackets are obviously better for cloudy, cold days, while uninsulated jackets are great for warmer days, and they typically give you more room so you can layer underneath a little bit better. The Columbia Platinum Peak 2 is the best shell jacket I tested because it has a nice roomy fit, the fabric is soft, it's super protective against water and wind, and it's got huge useful pockets. It has a nice roomy fit so you can fit puffy jackets underneath on really cold days, or just wear it with a base layer on normal spring days. Plus, the jacket extends really far down your back, so if you ever want to sit down in the snow,
Grief isn't talked about much, but that's what my podcast is all about. Join me and my guests for a new season with new conversations about loss, life, and love.
All There Is with Anderson Cooper. Listen at cnn.com/allthereis.
Hey, Rooster!
The kids call you Rooster?
They think I'm like my character.
Nice washboard. This is college. You can be the Rooster if you want.
Cock a doodle doo.
When you buy a house, you're buying the neighbors.
It looks like an Osama bin Laden compound in Pakistan.
There is 6 to 8 chickens, 10 to 15 chicken, 20 chicken.
Oh, cat poop on me.
Don't talk to my child that way. You will not talk over me.
Back off.
Rooster!
My attorney will bury you.
All There Is Live, now streaming at cnn.com/allthereis.
In these troubling times, the world desperately needs a hero. Unfortunately, we've got him.
What to do when country go ah?
Last Week Tonight with John Oliver.
Sticking with our worldly, the Iranian state media is reporting that Iran has targeted an Amazon data center in Bahrain with a drone attack. Iranian drones have also targeted 2 Amazon facilities in the United Arab Emirates. Under the threat of bombs that could drop any moment in closed airspaces, an estimated 6,000 U.S. citizens are stuck in the Middle East, among them reality TV influencer Oliver Sims. Sims was headed home after attending a wedding in India when his flight was forced to land in Qatar. CNN's Bijan Hosseini caught up with Sims and others in Doha.
We took off, and about an hour into the flight, I noticed on the map that we had turned around over the Persian Gulf.
Oliver is one of thousands of travelers stranded as tensions escalate across the Middle East.
Have you heard any of these interceptions or any of these attacks from Iran?
Yes, I have. I actually was woken up out of my sleep from it.
Here in Qatar, authorities say 8,000 transit passengers were unable to continue on with their journeys.
In addition to all those passengers who were caught during transit, there's also these 2 cruise liners at Doha's Old Port behind me. This big one right here, that's the Mein Schiff 5. We know that they have a capacity of 2,500 passengers and 1,000 crew. That itinerary finished on March 1st, but we know that passengers are still on board waiting until they can fly out.
Some tourists, however, are trying to make the most of an unexpected delay, venturing out to explore the city even as officials urge people to stay indoors. Others are far less relaxed about the situation. This group of Polish tourists say they've had little communication from their government about when they might be able to leave.
And how is everyone feeling? Are you feeling okay? Are you feeling scared?
No, we are very sad and
Just frustrated that we cannot. There is no information and we just need to wait.
With up-to-the-minute safety and security information.
The United States is urging its citizens abroad to register with the State Department and to reach out if they need assistance. But for travelers like Oliver, help has been limited.
I went to the number that they had provided and I called it.
If you are calling about the crisis in the Middle East, please press 1.
Yeah. So then this music was on, and whenever this music was on, like I was waiting for like 30 minutes, they eventually answered, and they said, you know, just sign up for the STEP program. We really don't know what we can do.
For now, thousands of tourists remain in limbo, waiting for tensions to ease and flights to resume. Bijan Hosseini, CNN, Doha.
And our thanks to Bijan Hosseini. Sad news in our sports lead as we go off air today. Lou Holtz, the College Football Hall of Fame coach who led Notre Dame to the 1988 national championship. Lou Holtz has died at the age of 89. Holtz won 249 games over 33 seasons, becoming the first and so far only coach to lead 6 different teams to bowl games. As a coach and a commentator, he captivated fans with his self-deprecating wit and his folksy personality. University of Notre Dame says that Holtz died surrounded by his family. May his memory be a blessing. You can follow me on Facebook, on Instagram, on Threads, on Blue Sky, on X, and on the TikTok at Jake Tapper. You can follow the show on X and Instagram at The Lead CNN. If you ever miss an episode of The Lead, you can watch the whole show on the CNN app. Aaron Burnett out front is live in Tel Aviv. It starts right now. Take it away, Aaron.
Good evening and welcome to this special edition of Out Front, the war with Iran, live from the Middle East. And tonight we are in Tel Aviv and we've got the breaking news. The war is expanding and intensifying this hour. A U.S. official says that the U.S. will start, quote, striking progressively deeper into Iran. As I said, that's the direct quote of where we are tonight in this intensifying war. I'm about to speak to an Iranian-American journalist, a former CNN correspondent, in fact, who is courageously reporting from inside Iran tonight, from a devastated Tehran. And he's going to tell you firsthand what he's actually seeing on the ground there, a rare and powerful and painful eyewitness. This as the war is escalating tonight as I speak. 10 countries across Northern Europe, you heard me right, are preparing a plan right now to evacuate civilians across borders amid this war with Iran that is now spreading thousands of miles from where it began in Khamenei's compound in the center of Tehran Saturday morning. The United States today putting out a video of a torpedo exploding an Iranian destroyer in international waters far, far from the theater of war, all the way off the coast of Sri Lanka, thousands of miles from where this war is being fought. We'll show you the images. They put them out, Pentagon video. They put it out of the attack, and then you see the sudden massive explosion. It's the first time an attack submarine has used a torpedo to sink a combat ship since World War II. Now, Sri Lanka's Navy then was involved with trying to rescue. They said they've rescued more than 24 people from the ship, but that would mean that maybe up to 150 or more are dead. We don't know the complete toll. Also today, NATO air defense systems shot down an Iranian missile that was going over Turkey. Turkey, of course, is NATO. It was traveling towards Turkey's airspace. We can see the debris from the missile there. And this is what we understand. We believe to be the first time that NATO forces have intercepted an Iranian missile traveling towards a member country's airspace in this war since this conflict began. And again, that was approaching over Turkish airspace. And just to put this in context and show you this situation with this widening theater of this war growing tonight, it is no longer confined to the Middle East here, to the Gulf, to Israel, where I'm standing, to Iran. It's now spanning roughly 4,000 miles across the globe. And there is concern, obviously. There is concern tonight that the United States misjudged the situation and that perhaps is having bigger problems defending against Iran than they had anticipated, although they are talking about massively depleting Iran's ability to fire missiles and to destroy launch pad sites. Trump administration officials, though, have come out today and said something important. They said that they are facing a major challenge in intercepting Iran's lower technology attack forces, specifically the Shahed drones, which have worked to such deadly efficiency in Ukraine, some 57,000 of them. According to a source inside that meeting, the Trump administration does not believe it will be able to intercept all those Shahed drones, and some of those are what's responsible for striking the U.S. Embassy in Saudi Arabia, the Dubai consulate, many other sites. According to Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, though, this conflict is only getting started.
As President Trump said, more and larger waves are coming. We are just getting started. We are accelerating, not decelerating.
As to why Trump bombed Iran to begin with, obviously this has been a shifting narrative, so I want to play you what the White House said today.
The president had a feeling, again, based on fact, that Iran was going to strike the United States, was going to strike our assets in the region, and he made a determination to launch Operation Epic Fury based on all of those reasons.
So they're now saying that it was based on a feeling that Trump had that is leaving some Trump aides to agonize privately over the fallout from what could be a potentially long war with no defined outcome. We have all angles of the story covered tonight around the region and around the world. As we begin our coverage, I want to start with Jeremy Diamond. He's here with me in Tel Aviv. And Jeremy, you know, as we watch this, you know, when you sit here, yes, missiles are coming in. Yes, there are sirens, fewer than before, perhaps because of some of those interceptors being destroyed, perhaps strategically. But a war that we learn is intensifying.
Absolutely, and we've been told that the Israeli military tonight has been striking at Iran's ballistic missile capabilities. It has been one of the singular focuses of this Israeli military operation so far in its first few days, reducing Iran's capacity to fire those ballistic missiles. And in fact, we got numbers not from the Israelis, but from the Pentagon earlier today, indicating just how effective that strategy has been so far, an 86% reduction in Iran's ability to fire those ballistic missiles since the first day of this war 5 days ago. And in fact, the Israeli military is not only striking at those ballistic missile batteries and launchers, but also doing so sometimes as the Iranians are preparing to get those missiles onto the launch pad and preparing to fire them towards Israel. And so what that means here is not only have we seen fewer missile launches, fewer barrages, the barrages are also getting smaller in number. Today we saw some launches that were not even barrages. They were one missile being fired by Iran. And also what that means is that fewer of those missiles are therefore getting through Israel's air defenses. We haven't seen serious casualties in a couple of days now here in Israel as a result of any of those launches.
Yes, yes. All right. Jeremy Diamond, thank you very much here in Tel Aviv. Let's go to Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, where, of course, there was that strike on the embassy. Nick, where you are, I understand 3 cruise missiles were just intercepted. So What are you learning there, and how does that play out in terms of what you see, the warning you get, what you hear on the ground?
Yeah, those 3 cruise missiles were intercepted just south of the capital, Riyadh, very close to the Prince Sultan Air Base, an important air base, an air base the United States has used in past with Saudi Arabia. There were 2 intercepts of cruise missiles there earlier in the day, so it's very clear that that base just outside the capital is a target. There were 9 intercepts of drones earlier on in the day. There was an intercept of a missile that was being fired at one of the energy facilities, oil facilities, in the east of the country. And we learned something new from Pete Hegseth's press conference today, Secretary of Defense, saying that the ballistic missiles have been targeting Saudi's energy sector in the east of the country, much closer to Iran, much closer to the Gulf. And this is the first time we've heard that ballistic missiles have been targeting Saudi Arabia's oil facilities. That is the biggest concern here. Saudi officials consider themselves the sort of apex of the ladder of escalation of Iranian attacks. The drone attacks sort of low down on the escalation. The cruise missiles that we just heard about not far from the capital here, next up on that sort of ladder. But at the top of the ladder is ballistic missiles targeting oil facilities. They were intercepted. That was good. But if they get through, potentially that would just drive Saudi Arabia to a position where the language that it's used so far, it has an option to respond to the aggression. It draws it closer to that point. They don't want to get involved, but this is what's happening. And we learned that today from Pete Hegseth's press conference. So
All right, we just obviously lost Nick's transmission there, but he's in Saudi, and you heard the bottom line there, 3 cruise missiles just intercepted. Jeremy Diamond is still here with me, also joining me, Nazila Fathi and General Joseph Votel, former CENTCOM commander. And General, I want to begin with you on the news that we just have, this breaking news about 3 cruise missiles intercepted in Saudi Arabia, perhaps bringing them closer to the brink of actually responding, where we have seen a firm defensive posture only from Saudi, from the United Arab Emirates. Do you believe that we are closer to this war expanding even more?
Thanks, Aaron. It's great to be with you. Yeah, I think certainly Iran's responsive strategy here, I think, has been to broaden the conflict. We've seen them attacking targets in a variety of countries on their periphery. And I think they're also interested in trying to extend the timeline here for their ability to respond. I think going into this, we certainly had an appreciation for the considerable capabilities that still remained in Iran, and their ballistic missile capabilities, and certainly in their drone capacity. So yeah, I think we expect